Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast, but new. Same, but different. We are back, but in a new way. Double or Nothing, the new podcast. Just a generic name, little name change, a little new rebrand for the squad. Make sure that you enjoy this intro because it's the last time. Run it. Davis, how does it feel, dude? A little brand new paint on our wheels. We're feeling good, man, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. It's been quite a road with the Bocce boys. All right. A change was much needed. After many I won't say criticisms, but some tough Google searches pulled up some interesting things. So we're rebranding. Double or Nothing.
Yes,
I like it.
We're back, but new. I like it, Davis. But you're right. SEO purposes, all that good stuff. Regardless, same show. We're just gonna, be a little bit more generic. We're gonna jump around to the hard-hitting facts. You guys don't want to hear about us talk about Texans, Titans, recap what it means for the AFC South. No one's gonna listen to that. We understand, and it's okay, right?
I agree. We're not experts at everything, all right, but we pretty much are.
Yeah, we're pretty damn close. All right, Davis, let's get to it. Let's get to the whole show. I'm a little over the place still, but I don't think there's a better place to start than the biggest game of the weekend. And we're going to get to our game of the week, but this is just some, weekend cleanup. Penn State, man. Penn State, tough loss. We haven't even really talked about it that much. Just kind of a heartbreaking loss. The end was a little tough for me. I couldn't watch the last 33 minutes, both overtimes, but traumatizing nonetheless. Kind of more of the same for Penn State. But how do we feel as Penn State fans?
Yeah, James Franklin needs to get the heck out of here. Unfortunately, just like this overlay, possibly. There we go, much better. James Franklin, his seat should be hot right now. It really should, because his record now 1-16 against top 5 opponents. Look, I hear all these people saying, well, Penn State wasn't a top 5 opponent in most of those. I don't care. Either way, you have to be competitive in these games. And look, if you look at the final score, Penn State was competitive. We lost 30-24 in double overtime. But the offensive play calling, which James Franklin does not do, that's Andy Kolenicki, was ridiculously bad. And the first half was so tough to watch that, Penn State played a great 6 minutes of football. It was phenomenal. It was a great 6 minutes of football. And we could have won this game, but we should not have won this game. And I hope that this is a big wake-up call in Happy Valley, because they need to do something, because Jimmy needs to figure this out, or Pat Kraft or AD, because we cannot win the big game. And we have to win the big game to be an elite program, just like James Franklin said many moons ago, 6 or 7 years ago. We're not an elite program. Well, if we want to get there, James Franklin might not be the answer.
Yeah, and unfortunately, because this program, actually the whole athletic program, really is prioritizing being good at every sport. I heard Pat Kraft say a couple of weeks ago, like, one of his dreams as AD is to win 2 national championships in a year, and that's a great goal to have. But, hockey's going well. They have a lot of other sports going very well, but football's their flagship. And when they get embarrassed like this continuously on a national stage, where I hear every person who I don't even think cared about Penn State making jokes, trying to get their licks in on James Franklin, it's so boring. But I think big things are coming because of a couple things. 3 3.5 at home and away. I know, Amir. It is. That's about as bad as it gets right there. You put it very plainly. But, they made a big deal with Adidas to get more NIL money, to really level up this program. And they can't let a guy like James Franklin ruin it for a couple more years. He's a great coach. Let's start there. He's a great coach, but he's a program builder. He did it for Vanderbilt. They were a coach away. Look at them. We'll talk about them in a second. But Penn State had a lot of problems when he came in, and he honestly did his job. He did. He got us back to relevancy. He won 2 giant games, the Ohio State game, and then winning the Big Ten championship against Wisconsin. He did his job. I think his job's over.
Yeah, it should be as it should be. Look at some of the guys who have gotten fired in the last few years. Look at like LSU, Florida. I mean, some of these schools they need to fire their coaches to actually jump up a level. And a lot of people are going to say, you know, what are the better options out there? I don't think it matters at this point. I think either way, you have to step in a new direction. And, you know, there are going to be guys out there, but you have to take a flyer on a guy like a Matt Campbell, maybe from Iowa State, a Matt Rule from Nebraska. I think some of these guys are seen as program builders like James Franklin, but some might be able to get over the top. And clearly Jimmy cannot do that.
Yeah, Jimmy F is having a lot of problems. And us Penn State fans can't handle these jokes anymore because this team is so good. And then if you look back on it, it makes you realize maybe last year was kind of better than this year, and they wasted even worse opportunity. We're not even going to touch that, but let's get on some other college football before we, you know, keep getting worse. But how about on the right-hand side of the screen, how about that win for Virginia, yes, over Florida State last second, great for the program. But that field rush was a little much. I mean, the ball hit the ground, and I saw maybe 15 people already running towards like the middle of the field. There needs to be some. Maybe it's just Virginia as a football stadium isn't built for that kind of thing security wise, but like you can see in the picture, look how close they were to the edge of the field. Like they're already running, and there was the infamous picture already of the Florida State quarterback getting flipped off right in his face as he's walking off the field by a Virginia fan. Like. It's a little much, right?
Yeah, poor Squirrel White, wide receiver for Florida State, who got absolutely trampled on. Yeah, crazy name. If you have a name like that, I mean, you deserve to get field rush. But anyway, Florida State, I mean, they've obviously had a phenomenal start to the year. I still think that they're going to be a good program. But to put it back onto Virginia, first time Virginia's been an AP top 25 team. They just got ranked 24th since 1947, Ethan. 1947. My grandparents were like 3 years old that year. So, I mean, they were probably dialed into the Cavaliers football program. But, yeah, I think this is a good turning point in the ACC, which is going to be very interesting with how that it's been. Obviously, we're going to get a great Miami-Florida State game this weekend, this coming weekend. But the ACC really is in shambles right now, and anybody can win. Georgia Tech's lurking in the background. I mean, anybody except Virginia Tech pretty much, who just fired Brent Pry about 10 days ago. So, we'll see, but I think Virginia could be on the come up. I don't think they're like going to make the playoff or anything, or even make the ACC championship. But being ranked 24th after a huge win like this, undefeated this year so far, I mean, you got to give your props to them.
For sure. Good for them, but they need to stick to lacrosse because their fans are not equipped for this sort of high intensity matchups. They need to be taught. If you come on the field, you will find out. Some Florida State player, like, I mean, that's a full-on riot. They should have the ability to defend themselves. Obviously, there's a line. But one more college football thing before we get on to a couple more of the headlines. How about Bama? We were, you know, pretty occupied at the moment with the Penn State game, what was happening. But Bama with a massive, massive win against Georgia. Georgia cannot beat Alabama, just cannot do it. But a huge win for Bama. Everybody and their mother was calling for Kalen DeBoer's job a couple weeks ago when they lost to Florida State. And even there, that video went that crazy viral of the woman being interviewed in Alabama about if she won the lottery, what would she do? And she'd say, I could get Kalen DeBoer out of here. Maybe not. Maybe a little too fast there, lady, because Bama looks good. And their quarterback, Ty Simpson, oh, my God, he might be the best Alabama quarterback in recent memory. And that was, you know, not really a big statement 10 years ago, but now it is. I mean, he looks just as good as Tua did a couple of years ago. Like, this guy is a stud. And if I'm Alabama fans, I would be very upset for how I acted early in the year.
No slander on AJ McCarron now. All right. Alabama legend, national championship winner. No, my one highlight of this game is Georgia shut Alabama out in the second half and still lost this game. Gunnar Stockton is not the answer for Georgia. And if Kirby Smart's going to be in a similar boat, as in, this James Franklin. If you can't beat, and obviously he has national championships. James Franklin doesn't, but at a certain level, if you can't beat your SEC opponents, you're not going to get there. So, the 12-team playoff is definitely a good thing for him and his job, but we can't be losing games like this. And I think Georgia is going to have to look for a new quarterback coming up pretty soon because Gunnar Stockton is clearly not the answer.
Yeah, I mean, that Georgia team is as good as it gets, too. They're kind of on the same par with Penn State. A lot of talent coming in, a lot of expectations, and a big loss early. But, in the new college football season, it doesn't mean your season's over as much as it feels that way for us Penn State fans and probably these other fans. But it ain't over till it's over. Swinging around the NFL a little bit, Jackson Dart looked like a beast in his debut. Obviously, losing Malik Neighbors for the year got us sucked terribly. As an Eagles fan, it made me a little nervous because the future might be a little grim, but at the same time, I'm kind of excited for the Giants fans I know in my life. They've kind of gone through a lot, not as bad as the Jets, but they've been through a lot. So it's nice to see the Giants get a win against the Chargers where you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, there was zero chance the Giants should have won that game. The Chargers just looked horrible on offense. And Cam Scatterbo really coming out of nowhere, said nobody. He's a dog. He's an absolute crown eater. He will run over anything in sight, and that's exactly the kind of running back I want on my team. I mean, we kind of have it in Saquon Barkley, but I just want to say one last time that the MetLife turf just strikes again. Another ACL gone.
Yeah, I got to read off. My brother texted us yesterday. 14 torn ACLs in MetLife since 2020. 14. That's only almost 6 years ago. And that's a lot of ACLs. Really, really, really sad. And then we don't really feel bad, but Tyreek Hill kind of got hurt and tore his ACL, or not tore his ACL. He dislocated his knee and every other ligament in his knee. It sucks to see someone get hurt, but that's about it.
Absolute craziness by ESPN to cut to a commercial break after this and then show the replay again. I cannot. It baffles me. ESPN should not be covering NFL games anymore. They just do stuff like this all the time. They're clearly I would put Prime above them at this point when it comes to rankings. But Netflix absolutely. Yeah, Netflix is pretty good too. They got JJ Watt on there. Tough luck for the Dolphins, even though they won. So 1-3. Good for him. Yeah. Good for Mike McDaniel. Just stays alive for another week, but his firing's coming soon.
Yeah, it sure is. And then the story of the weekend, honestly, USA chokes. And actually, I wouldn't even say choke. They shat the bed. They really did. I mean, Friday when the rounds started, you knew it was going to be like, this reminds me of Friday 2 years ago when you and I stayed up till 3 a.m. to watch in Italy, and then it was over by 5 a.m. So it felt like that. And then Saturday, they lost a lot. But Sunday, Davis, I got to say, Sunday was pretty exciting. They were in it so much more than I thought they were. It was kind of close. I put $5 on it very late in Sunday, and the odds were still great. And I was like, I don't know. So it really sucks that Sunday wasn't more competitive because the Americans were on a mission that day. But hey, you got to make do with with the attempts that you're given the first 2 days. Scotty Scheffler played terrible. I mean, let's go down the line. The Americans didn't play well, but first time in I think 11 years that a visiting team has won, and even longer since Europe has done it to America. But what were your thoughts?
Yeah, great rally on Sunday by the Americans. Obviously, almost everything that had to happen did happen, and Europe finally stopped making their putts. I feel like the first 2 days Europe was draining absolutely anything that was on the green.
Everything.
But big shout out to Cam Young. I mean, debuting and went undefeated, top U.S. point leader. Good for him, and I think he's got a strong career coming. But yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is that the rule change. There needs to be a rule change when it comes to how guys get hurt in the Ryder Cup. Victor Hovland on Sunday morning woke up with a strained neck. Wonder why.
Yeah,
and
I was going to get there. Don't worry. Yeah.
He had to back out of Sunday's singles. And if there's an injury, all that happens is that both teams tie the point. They have the point, which is an absolutely ridiculous rule. Because if that were the case, why didn't everybody on Europe yesterday or on Sunday wake up with a sore necks and no one had to play on,
Yeah.
the singles matches. It just doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense. So, I mean, obviously that didn't become the determining factor to the Ryder Cup, but I mean, it definitely was a big part of the momentum swing, and that the fact that almost every American had to win their singles match on Sunday, and it happened. And the Americans have been strong on singles the last few Ryder Cups, but we got to get better on the group play.
Yeah, they really do. They even put a dream team together. Uh-oh,
Yeah.
Boogster in the chat. What are your predictions on South Carolina's record through the next 5 games? And then I'm going to read this. LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, A&M. Those are, I would say, arguably, but unarguably, the 5 best teams in the SEC, Davis.
That's an absolute gauntlet. It's almost as bad as Penn State playing FIU, Nevada, and Villanova. It's really tough.
Get into it, but a weird year this year for South Carolina. Let me just say. I mean, I thought they were going to come in and make Lenore Sellers a top 5 pick in this draft. Like Dylan Stewart, dog on the defense. I mean, they had that Missouri game until Lenore Sellers got hurt. But when he's healthy, I think they could win like 4 of these 5. Seriously, like they're a good team. What do you think?
No, they are a good team. They play 2 of these at home. I think that Oklahoma game, especially if John Mateer needs to come back. If John Mateer doesn't come back for that game, that could be big time upset alert. But I think South Carolina can definitely win 2 of these. But I think that either way, 2 of these wins, they're going to be upsets. Like South Carolina is going to be a dog in these, every single one. Maybe not the A&M game, but I mean, there's a good chance that South Carolina, as almost every single other year, I feel like, gets a huge upset against a top SEC team. Yep. I wouldn't be shocked if they do it twice in this schedule.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we just talked about Alabama being on the up and up, but the SEC feels like it's all over the place this year. So why not they beat Alabama? Why not A&M? I mean, A&M, they're a good team. Ole Miss, good team. But we've seen a lot of, pollsters getting a little ahead of themselves with these teams. So I feel like we really don't know outside of like Oregon, Alabama, Ohio State. Those are probably 3 locked in really good teams. But watch out for the Gamecocks, man. I've been a big fan of them all year. So, Austin, great question. I think they win 3 of 5. If I had
Lenore Sellers, dog. Might go number 1 overall.
Dog. Yeah, especially the rec specs. We need that in the NFL. Seriously, we really do. Yep. All right, Davis, let's move on to our game of the week. And I already kind of hinted at this, but usually it says the segment's going to be called Game of the Week, and I put 2 up here, so games of the week for this week. But I had to. It's a tie. These are 2 really, really big matchups. I mean, you just talked up the ACC. I talked up the SEC. These are 2 conferences that are kind of, surpassing expectations, if you can even do that as an SEC team. But, look at Vanderbilt. Did you ever think Vanderbilt versus Alabama in Tuscaloosa would get College game day? This just shows how far the Commodores have come as a program. Shout out to Diego Pavia. He's a dog, absolute dog. He reminds me of a little bit of a Baker Mayfield kind of guy. He's a great player. And we just talked about Alabama, but don't count out Vandy in this game, man. They are so important to maybe getting, if they play their asses off the rest of the year, they could be getting a bye in this SEC, at least in the college football playoff. That's what I mean. But what do you think of that game before we get to Miami at Florida State?
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. I have a better pick, in my opinion, on the next game, but I really like with the points on this game. You're giving me double digits with a team that, Alabama just came off a huge emotional win. I always want to hedge against that. I want to go against the underdogs a little bit. And Vandy beat Alabama last year. Let's not forget.
That's what I was going to say. Does that affect it at all? Because that was so big for them at the time.
I don't think so as much as maybe some people think, but I'll tell you right now, there's a reason why this spread's double digits, and it's because Alabama on the field and on paper is a double-digit favorite to Vanderbilt. But again, like you said, I think that Diego Pavia, he is that guy, and he can move the ball a little bit. And I don't know if Ty Simpson's all him, and Kalen DeBoer has shown that he struggles against small-time opponents. He loses games. He doesn't cover. He lost a game earlier this year, a bad game earlier this year. And I think that I think he could step up in a game like this, but I just don't have confidence in that just yet. So I'll take Vanderbilt plus 10.5 on this one.
Yeah, I like it. If they're going to give me 10.5 points, you got to take it. But at the same time, Alabama losing last year to Vandy, could have been embarrassing enough that even though they've had their tough ups and downs since, I'm sure they had this one circled. I mean, it's hard to say this. They had this circled after beating Georgia last week, but I mean, I would think that they're going to come in here and lay an egg. But if they're going to give you 10.5 points, you got to take it. You never know with Vandy. They are fun and frisky. They beat the Gamecocks in a game a couple weeks ago that I thought would be a lot closer. But really interesting matchup here. Game day does have it. It's cool that they get the respect. But let's go down to the U against Florida State. I mean, I don't even know what to say about this game. Miami is a tank this year. Every aspect, firing all cylinders. Carson Beck is back, fully back than he's ever been. Their skill position guys are great. Their defense looks great. But are we overrating them? Or I don't know what to think.
I say no. I will tell you right now, throughout 4 games into the college football regular season, I think Miami is the best team in college football. Ohio State does have a big win against Texas, for sure. Texas doesn't have a single win against an FBS team this year. All right. I think that, and Florida State, look, I think Florida State is a good team, but I think they're getting highly overrated by a great start to the year. I think Tommy Castellanos is a great quarterback. They brought in a lot of great transfers, but when it comes to the nit and gritty, I think that Carson Beck is, first of all, I think Carson Beck might be the best quarterback in college football. I'm not telling you he's going to go number 1 overall. I just think he's a great college quarterback. He fits a great system. He could, but I think Miami -4.5 might be my favorite play of the weekend. Any given game so far. I mean, we'll throw them out online on Instagram or whatever this week, but I think Miami could come in here and actually just absolutely put it rolling on the Seminoles. Huge rivalry game, and I'm glad that this game is going to mean something because this game hasn't meant something in a little bit now. Miami taking a few dumps, Florida State obviously having a terrible year last year, but I'm going with the U. I'm going with the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I kind of love the over in this game. Like you just said, kind of for the reasons you laid out. Like, they haven't played each other in a while competitively. This game means a lot between these two teams historically. And Miami, I don't know if the U is back, like we're going to do. Texas is back. I think Miami's kind of been back for a little bit ever since they had Cristobal. But I really think that they come in here with something to prove. But regardless, I think this is going to be a great game, like 35-33 kind of game. I think it's going to be very – I don't want to say the defense is going to get killed, but because these two defenses are great. But, I mean, this might be your future SEC or ACC championship in the season because if Florida State loses, this could really hurt their ACC standings, that is, because losing to Virginia will definitely hurt.
Agreed.
But love the over 53.5.
Yeah, I'll get some research going with some plays, but I think Miami's defense might be just a little too good, to be honest.
Yeah.
But Florida State's defense might be that bad where they still could let up a ton of points. So we'll see. But Miami 4.5, definitely put a lock on that right now.
Yeah, I kind of love it. All right, Davis, let's get to MLB because it is the last day of September, but it's October. It's October in spirit. Right now, I got to my left the Yankees-Red Sox game. Right now. I mean, it's such a big game. How can I not have it on my TV while we're podcasting? I mean, it's the greatest rivalry in sports, right?
Yeah. I'll go ahead and say that. Great Bambino trade. You got the 0-4 comeback. Yeah, I like it. I'm in.
Yeah, I think it has to be. And even though these teams are probably not the height of their powers, especially with the Yankees missing Garrett Cole, the Red Sox missing Roman Anthony. But, I mean, look at this bracket, man. This is loaded baseball. I'm so excited. Let's update the things that have already happened. Actually, never mind. You already have it up there. Detroit leads 1-0 in their series. Tarik Skubal absolutely shoved today. The big hoss did his job. And then the Cubs took a 1-0 lead over the Padres in a game that they just flat out controlled after they gave up that one little run at the beginning. Seiya Suzuki and Carson Kelly back-to-back. The Cubs, that feels like a lineup that could come alive out of nowhere and really do some damage. Obviously, that hinders a lot on Kyle Tucker, PCA. Seiya Suzuki keep on cooking, but I really like this NL playoff matchups. I mean, all of these teams are good. Obviously, the AL teams are good as well. But I mean, the Blue Jays got the first place bye the last day of the season. So like, I'm not putting as much stock in the AL as I am in the NL. And I mean, even the Dodgers Reds tonight, I believe 9 o'clock. That will be a great series. But Davis, how are we feeling about the positioning of these teams? Because everyone talks crap
I
about
think
these
it's yeah.
NLDS teams, or the NLDS bye teams getting the week off, all that stuff. But how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, in recent history, since the format change, it hasn't gone in the favor of teams with a bye. But that changed last year with the Dodgers winning the whole thing, Yankees getting a bye. But I think that there is a little bit of momentum coming from the wild card. Like, look at the Phillies in 2022. We beat the Cardinals in Game 1 on a huge top of the ninth where we scored 6 runs. Gene Segura throwing a ball right past the second baseman, and that sparked Red October going into the World Series. So it would not shock me to see one of these teams do something like that. And there are some great teams here in the wild card, and I think that there are some shaky teams that got buys, including the Toronto Blue Jays. I think that they're a team where their bullpen is a mess and their hitting is so up and down. If you're going to tell me there's a team that goes from the wild card to the World Series, I would probably lean towards the Yankees. And it's easy to say that up 1-0, but I really do think that the Yankees are all that. They have a great bullpen. They basically
have the defending champions, the Dodgers. I have to say. I
think the Dodgers are great, but unfortunately, Ethan, they got to run into the Fighting Hots. They got to run into the Fighting Phils at Citizens Bank Park this Saturday against Christopher Sanchez, and that's if they get over Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, and Andrew Abbott for these 3 games. So, I mean, we'll see when it comes to who can get through the wild card here, but I don't know if the Reds have a chance. I think that if the bats get hot like they have been in September, the Reds absolutely have a chance to shock the world. They absolutely do. I think they do. I just think they need to limit the Dodgers from scoring, which obviously is always a tall task.
Yeah,
always a tall task. But I could absolutely see Dodgers, Phillies, NLDS, which I think would be maybe the most electric thing in baseball in recent memory, in my opinion, ever since a Boston Yankees and a ALDS a few years ago, and back in 2004 with 3. You know what I mean? Like, I think that there are a lot of possibilities here. But I will tell you also right now, I don't see a lot of these games going 3 games. I think that there are some
wild card, that is right.
Yes. I see that. I think that there are definite mismatch possibilities when it comes to some of the starting pitching. Like tonight, you've got Boston going up against the Yankees. The Yankees are up 1-0 right now. Fried against Crochet on the bum. Those are 2 AL Cy Young contenders.
Seriously, man.
The AL Cy Young, but then you look at the NL side. You got Matthew Boyd, who's been coming on as of late, and then you got Nick Pivetta, who might be one of the most underrated NL pitchers in the entire league right now. And guess what? They got to go out and beat Milwaukee, whoever wins that series. So I think that being in the wild card helps momentum-wise, especially at the plate. Not going to help the arms with how much these guys are going to be throwing, especially if it goes to a game 3. You got to use high-leverage guys all 9 innings, and then you got to go on to play another series in 2 days.
Yeah, I totally agree. It is such an advantage, but it also depends on the guys you got in your clubhouse. I mean, it's not always going to be, wild card team loses in 2 games or, whatever it is. But let's talk about a team with a bye who we are quite big fans of. I'm sorry. The Phillies. They have high expectations nationally, I would say. But within the city, I feel like people are a little pessimistic, and I think that is pretty natural when, our best player / pitcher, Zach Wheeler, goes down for the season with a blood clot, which, I'm just glad he's okay, to be honest, because that could go so poorly. So glad he's okay. But we're missing, our best piece of firepower. So how are you feeling about the Phillies?
I feel great about the Phillies. I mean, I definitely do understand the pessimistic side of being a Phillies fan. I feel like it's just more nerves than anything, especially, losing to the Mets last year and not having the bats, losing in Game 7 2 years ago with the end of our NLCS run with our top 3 players going like 1 for 26. I see it. It's possible. That's baseball. Anything can happen. But I'll tell you right now, with Zach Wheeler being out, bringing in Christopher Sanchez as our true ace might actually be he might be him. Like he might turn into what people think of Paul Skeens, like an unhittable guy. I mean,
wow.
He's brought down his ERA so much this year. I mean, what did he finished with like a 2.2, 2.3 or something? I mean, those are elite numbers. He finished with just under 200 strikeouts, I think. I think game 1, Phillies Dodgers, Ohtani on the bum against Christopher Sanchez on the bum could be hopefully the most watched baseball game, and not in a World Series in the past few years, because that is true TV. That is true. Like, you can't make a script better than that. And I think Christopher Sanchez has what it takes. I think he absolutely has what it takes. And, when it comes to the Phillies rotation in the playoffs, I'm hoping it's going to be Sanchez. It's going to be Ranger, who's been hot as of late. It's going to be Luzardo, who's had a phenomenal end of the year. You've got Walker Buehler in the bullpen for high leverage situations. Yeah. And obviously you've got the Durantula finishing up games. So I think there's a reason why the Phillies are the favorites to win the World Series at plus 425. And, obviously we might get a tough test for the Dodgers, but guess what? We could be facing Cincinnati too. That's baseball. Cincinnati's hot. Exactly. If their bats are hot, I'd actually be a little worried if Cincinnati won the series, because I don't want to face a team coming off a straight month of momentum. But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, and I mean, imagine the chanting inside of the bank, a couple of years ago when we were screaming at Strider, but like, Shohei, 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 will be in his ear. I would love that. Seriously. But if you're still listening with us live, drop your World Series champions in the chat, because right now I want to ask you, Davis, give me your AL champion, your NL champion, and your World Series champion. Again, drop them in the chat.
I'm going to do it for our good friend Matt Stiers. I think the Phillies are going to go up against the New York Yankees in the World Series. And I think it's going to be an opposite of 2009. The Phillies lost the World Series in Game 6 in New York. And this time, the Phillies are going to win Game 6 in Philadelphia. Phillies take the series 4-2.
Yeah, love that, Davis. Absolutely love that. I just, as like a podcast neutral thing, I kind of want to be like, oh, not the Phillies, because you just took the Phillies. But I really think the Phillies are going to win this NL. They really feel strong.
It's a Phillies podcast, by the way. This is a Phillies podcast at this point.
But I just want to throw it out there. Watch out for the Brewers. I think people are giving them, the correct respect, but they're a wagon who I think the Phillies would enjoy playing in an NLCS. But out of the AL, I got the Seattle Mariners. I think Seattle is such a good team that got only better at the trade deadline with, getting Suarez and Naylor. But their pitching is sneaky very good. This is also a super, super, super hungry team that made the postseason for the second time since 2001. The first time they won the divisions in that whole stretch as well. Like, this team is really good. And then you can argue with me all day and night, but they probably have the best player in baseball right now, which is Big Dumper himself, Cal Raleigh, the 60 home run man. I mean, that squad is loaded. Don't forget about Julio Rodriguez, who is such a great young player that I feel like is just making, quiet little strides, but he's going to make his moments soon. So I kind of love the Mariners, especially if they get the winner of that, Tigers Guardians series. So I got Phillies Mariners, and then I think this is the year, baby. Phillies win the World Series. To say they're due would be mean, but Sty staying in the chat, definitely not the best player. All right, Sty, I'm sorry. I know you're a big Judge guy, but he is. Did Judge hit 60 homers this year? No, he didn't.
Switch hitting catcher that hit 60 home runs. Sty knows all about Big Dumper. All right, Sty's got Big Dumper on his mind right now. Sty's got to start worrying about this Red Sox game right now, because there's going to be a big comeback once Fried gets out of this game here.
By the way, Sty, I hope you weren't in here for the first 10 minutes to hear about the Penn State stuff. Plug your ears, man. We're only talking about baseball this time. But no, I totally agree. I'm really excited for the Mariners to play. I think they're just such a cool historical team that I hope gets there too, but not too much. The Phillies, this is their year. Let's bring it home, baby. They are so due. They should have won a couple years ago.
How many games? How many games does it take?
Gentlemen's sweep. They do it in 5.
Okay. In Seattle.
In Seattle. I would love to win a championship on the road. Obviously, winning at home is great, but let's do it. All right, Davis. Let's get to the look ahead for this weekend. Some great NFL games this week. I will say my runner-up to the tie of game of the week was actually Jags Chiefs, Davis. I think that is a fantastic Monday night matchup that, two teams you probably wouldn't think that, but Jags look so good. The Chiefs have a lot to prove, but, we can look elsewhere. I think Broncos Eagles will be great. I think the Rams Niners tomorrow night, 2 nights on Thursday Night Football will be a lot better than the last time they played last year on Thursday Night Football. I think it ended like 12-9 in like heavy rain. That was disgusting. But what games are popping out to you? You even go to college if you want.
Yeah, I think the Rams-Niners game is definitely very interesting on the NFL side. The Ravens are going to be a very interesting talk, whether Lamar Jackson plays or not.
I don't think he is. I think I heard he's not.
It sounded like he wasn't going to. I didn't know if that was official just yet.
I don't think it's official.
I think that the Sunday night game, Buffalo against New England, that's going to be a tough one. I think that's going to be the Bills' real first test. It's whether Drake May and Mike Vrabel, this is actually going to work out. They're going to keep this a close game, but and all these primetime games have gone contrarian. I feel like that the underdogs have been definitely put at least. Take out the Bengals last night, but there's at least been a fighting chance. If anybody followed our teaser that we put on Instagram yesterday, that hit because the Jets scored a late, like almost a last second touchdown to cover our 8.5.
They sure did.
So it's these have been tight games. I want to go to college football though, because I truly, truly believe that the Red River rivalry will be a very interesting game this week, mostly because. I feel like I might have. Do I have the wrong? Is this really this week's schedule? It's not. It's week 6.
No. Yes, it's week 6. I was gonna say I don't think Mateer's playing this week.
I'm looking at that now. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm looking.
Trial run. We're figuring it out still.
Let's quickly look at the schedule here. Yeah, I'm going Miami, Florida State. The Miami, Florida State game is going to be game of the weekend. And that let's take out all this football. Game of the weekend, NLDS game 1, Phillies, Dodgers, Shohei, obviously. Christopher Sanchez. Come on.
We're not going to lock in the Dodgers yet. We're not going to lock in the Dodgers.
Okay.
Yet, Davis.
That's fine. Yeah. I'm okay with that.
We're going to respect the Reds. If the Dodgers were that good, they would have gotten a bye. That's all I'm saying. But
you're so right.
These guys on the ball. There's nothing to say other than it's on us. Hand up, that's on me. But, we know ball. So please don't accuse us of not knowing ball. Because the number one insult you can throw at somebody's way is you don't know ball. When, in fact, we know ball. If you want to talk about, some real FCS football stats, we got you too. But, we know ball, please. Davis, I don't know if there's much more to talk about other than I can't believe the Yankees are up 1-0 on these Red Sox. I thought Crochet was going to dominate a little bit more. He's such a hoss.
They're going to dominate and they're going to win by the time the Yankees. I hope so.
Live bet the Red Sox with me right now, please. Anybody's watching, let's live bet the Red Sox. The Yankees will lose again, but
the Yankees are my ALCS champions. They're my AL champions.
I'll remember that, by the way. It's about the Mariners too. It's about them live.
You should.
You should. Yeah, I like it. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We got a couple concurrent viewers. We appreciate you. Make sure you like and subscribe on the YouTube. I know it's a new name, but it's the same YouTube. And then if you're watching Instagram, follow, subscribe, or like, all that stuff. Let's start build, new community over there. We appreciate everyone's sticking in, checking in with us. More to come. We'll make sure that we have the right graphics next time. Just a little trial run.
Hey, if you want to come on the show, most of the people probably watching have our numbers. So
exactly.
Get in here.
Yes. DM us if you want to get on all that good stuff. We appreciate it. Like, subscribe. Peace. We're out. Roll that outro.